Hello, grammar students. This is a review about verbs, just some basic pointers to help you write better with verbs. Just to remember, verbs show action or a state of being. I like to call them linking verbs instead of state of being. So let's look at these sentences and see if we can find the verbs. John works at McDonald's. He cooks and cleans every night. Sarah is a cashier. She lives in an apartment. The apartment has 2 bedrooms. Where are the children playing? So here you can see John works. He cooks. Notice the conjunction and, so there are 2 verbs here. Cleans. Sarah is, this is a linking verb. It links Sarah to cashier. She lives. The apartment has. And then in a question, your verbs may be split up, your helper from your main verb. Are playing. So here's some helping verb mistakes people often make that we should avoid. Could have. I could have come. This should be have. Of is a preposition, not a helping verb. Be is a helper except in command setups like be good, be safe. Past tense does not take a helping verb. I have went to the store. No, I went to the store. You use have with the word gone version. There's no gonna or coulda. These are slang terms. I'm going to, or I could have. Verbs have tense. Watch out for helpers and endings for each. Verbs can be irregular. Regular verbs, as you can see here with jump, only use ed for endings in the past tense or with the participle tense. Participle tense means I need a helper. So all these would have helpers. Irregular verbs change somehow, or in some cases just stay the same. Eat is present tense, ate is past tense, and eaten is the participle tense, and it would always have to have a helper like has eaten. Bring, brought, brought. Now brought and brought is the same form, so it can be used with a helper or without. But again, if that participle form is different, like gone, written, eaten, then you would always have to have a helper. The middle column here, again, not the regular one, or all the irregular ones would not be used with helpers in a simple past tense. The present tense can have an S added, or in case of go, would be goes, ES, or it can have an ing added to it. Watch out for adding ing to words like set, because that would be spelled setting. Write, you take the E off and add the ing. You do not double the T there. You put an S on present tense verbs when you're using the third person. Third person would be a singular noun or pronoun. He drives. I put an S on the verb drive. He has driven. This is present perfect. The S is built into the word has. He is driving. This is present progressive or continuous tense for those of you who've learned it that way. Is driving. Was is an exception. Most past tense verbs do not use an S, but he was driving with the he, the she, or if that were a name like John or Sue. He has been driving, present perfect progressive. And then last, he does drive. This is the emphatic present tense. And these are not all the tenses that you can conjugate into, but these are the most commonly used. All right, let's look at these and see if we can fill in some helpers. John blank driving to work today. One thing to note is time words. This will help you figure this out. And then you look at the verb form. Blank, he see the accident that occurred. Mary blank written a letter now. They blank gone to the store. You blank leaving yesterday. I blank working on my book. Here's correct helpers. John is driving. Did he see that occurred? I use past tense with this for this helper, so I use did. Mary has written says now, so I know I'm using present tense, and I'm using the participle form, so I don't want to use is or am or something like that. That's only for ing verbs. They are gone to the store. You were leaving yesterday. Were leaving. You uses a form of were or are. I am working on my book. So let's look at these and see if we can match a correct verb to the subject. When you read these, look for the subject before you pick the verb. We blank going to leave. John and Mary blank coming. Earthquakes often blank buildings. One of the men blank his lunch. The band blank on their uniforms. The committee blank its decision. We were going to leave. John and Mary are coming. This is a plural verb. Are coming. Earthquakes has an S, so I picked the verb without the S, shake. One eats his lunch. The band put, because there's many of them, their uniforms. And the committee makes its decision. I use the one with the S because committee is making one decision. Watch out for troublesome verbs, verbs that we tend to mix up. And here's just a few of those that are very common. Blank the sheets on my desk. The sun also blank here. The men blank out the chairs. I have blank in bed all night. Blank my book tonight. Blank the groceries in. I blank like to attend. Lay the sheets on my desk. Lie is what a person or animal does when the person or the animal lies on the ground, reclines. Lay means put. The sun also rises here. The men set, S-E-T, out the chairs. We sit in the chairs. They set out the chairs. I have lain in bed all night. Laid means to put down something. Borrow my book tonight. Bring the groceries in. We never use fetch. That sounds like an animal. And then I would like to attend. Should is an obligation, and should like doesn't quite make sense here. All right, let's look at these. I blank make it from scratch. Blank you like to go. We blank leave later if it rains. Please blank the flag. They blank working hard. Bob had been blank a gift. I could make it from scratch. Would you like to go? We may leave later if it rains. Please raise the flag. Rise always means something that does it on its own, like the sun rises. They were working hard. Bob had been given a gift. Again, gave never takes a helper. All right, read this paragraph and look for mistakes. The women on the show is excited because they will win a new car. If I was on stage, I could have been very nervous. The show's host encouraged them to be trying again. Who's going to win the prizes? There is cars and trips to be won. Suddenly, one of the women faint with excitement. So here are the mistakes. The women are multiple, so this is a singular verb. They will win because they will win a new car. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. Perhaps that's more of a perspective here. If I was on stage, when we use an if phrase, it changes out what kind of verb matches. I could been very nervous. Sounds like something might be missing. And then the host encouraged them. If you look, it sounds like we're in present tense, and maybe that doesn't fit. To be trying. This is the word to, which causes this to be an infinitive, and that's set up without helpers or ings or any endings. Whose, is this the correct whose? Because I need a helping verb with going, and I don't see one here. There is cars and trips. Is the verb, but the subject are cars and trips. And we don't match it to there, so this can't match here. It must match cars and trips. And then to be won, another infinitive mistake. And then one faint. Of the women, just tells you something about one. It is not the subject. So here are the corrections. Here you go. The women are excited. They may win a car. If I were on stage, I would be very nervous. The show's host encourages them, because it's present tense, to try again. Who is, this is the abbreviation for who is, going to win the prizes? There are cars are, and trips to win. Suddenly, one of the women faints. So here are some basic tips. Always find your subject, whether it's a noun or pronoun, and see if it matches the verb. Check for time clues to see if the verb should be present, past, or future. Check helpers. Again, the first one may affect whether the helper is correct, so its subject matches the helper, or the time frame may affect the helper. Watch out for verbs that have to in front of them. Remember, it's just a basic verb form, no endings, no helpers. And watch out for those irregular verb forms. Thanks for watching this short review on verbs, and I hope this has helped. If you have questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Goodbye.